Hi guys, welcome back to my podcast. In today's episode, the common enemy of the Yadavas and Pandavas is defeated. Yes, I am talking about the most ruthless king of Magadha, Jarasandh. Anyways, let's get to the story. Onwards. Arjuna and Subhadra were finally hitched, but Yudhishthir still needed to perform the Rajasuya Yagam, which meant that Jarasandh needed to be killed. Killing Jarasandh was no easy task for anybody, not even Krishna. So when the Pandavas asked why it was so hard to get rid of Jarasandh, Krishna told them the story of his birth. Jarasandh's father, King Brihadrat of Magadha, had married the two princesses of Kashi and promised them that he would treat them equally. Equal love, equal shares, equal everything. However, King Brihadrat was earless and was in desperate need of a son. He went to meet the sage Chandakoshik, who at that time was sitting under a mango tree. He went to the sage and asked him to bless him with a son. Sage Chandakoshik took pity on King Brihadrat and gave him a mango. The sage told him to give the mango to his queen and a son will be born. However, King Brihadrat cut the mango in half and gave the two halves to his two queens, and therefore two halves were born, divided from head to toe. The queens were dejected, so they threw the halves away and left. Just then, a demoness named Jara was walking by. She saw the pieces of flesh and picked them up to eat. However, when she put the two halves together, they became one child. The baby's cries were so loud that the queens at the palace could hear them. However, Jara became frightened and ran away. The queens then decided to take the baby home, and that very child was then named Jarasandh. But what made Jarasandh so dangerous was that he had a boon from Lord Shiva. The boon was that if he could capture 100 kings and sacrifice them to him, he would be immortal. Jarasandh had captured 86 kings so far, which meant that he only needed 14 more to become immortal. This meant that Jarasandh had to be stopped as soon as possible. On top of that, the Yadavas and Pandavas, being sworn enemies of Jarasandh, would not be allowed to enter the court. So Krishna came up with a plan to go to Jarasandh's palace disguised as sadhus or sages. When they went, Krishna told Jarasandh to come at midnight to talk, so till then, they were given a guest room to stay in. Just as midnight hit, Jarasandh came to their room. Krishna then asked Jarasandh to choose one out of the three of them to have a duel with. No surprise, Jarasandh chose Bhima. However, while they were talking, Jarasandh figured out that they weren't really Brahmins, so he asked them to reveal their identities. Jarasandh was shocked when they did, but still agreed to fight with Bhima. Bhima and Jarasandh fought for 14 days and 14 nights. Now Krishna had actually given a clue to Bhima on the very first day of the fight. He took a nearby fig and split it down the center and threw the halves to their respective sides. Bhima understood and did the same with Jarasandh. He did the same every day, but the halves just kept combining into human again and again. Finally, on the 14th day, Krishna told Bhima to split the halves apart and throw them to the opposite sides so that they wouldn't combine. The backs of Jarasandh's halves collided unsuccessfully and he eventually died. Krishna released all of the captive kings and gave them their kingdoms back. He then took the pleasure of making Jarasandh's son, Sahadev, the new king of Magadha. Yudhishthir was finally cleared to perform the Rajasuya Yagam. That's it for this episode. However, in next week's episode, there is a shocking surprise. Spoiler alert, a special cousin is coming back after a long time away. Until then, don't forget to turn on those post notifications and follow me on Twitter and Instagram. See you next time. Bye.